So we're about to do an Edinburgh tour.
The 90 means therefore that the new town of Edinburgh is older than San Francisco by 10 years.
But it's so cold that we decided to sit downstairs rather than sit upstairs with the roof off of the bus.
Now believe it or not, just street ahead of you,
anyways, we're going to show you some places around Edinburgh.
And the whole of the new town originally was 100% residential. There were no shops, there were no cafes, there were no master died and was buried in the graveyard behind these buildings here. And for the next 14 years until the dog died himself, he sat by his master's grave in that graveyard there. There's the pub, Greyfriars body, and between us and the pub is the statue of the dog. You might recognise him because he has a golden nose. He has a golden nose because people rob it for luck. He shouldn't have a golden nose. It should be black.
Oh, there it is.
And there's the alleyway up the memorial to the dog. Now, if you look to your right, you'll see a blue shop called Simply Fits It.
You see a blue shop?
It's got a black door. To the left of the black door is a tiny little brass plaque. And that brass plaque says that between 1858 and 1872, Greyfriars Bobby was fed here. Because when the 1 o'clock gun went off at the castle, he knew if he came round to that shop, he'd be fed. Needless to say, it wasn't Simply Fix It in 1858. It was probably a butcher or a baker, or something like that. Straight ahead of you now is the oldest students' union in the world. It's called Teviot House. Edinburgh University Students' Union. Now this newer building now, sandstone building, is the McEwen Hall, where Edinburgh University, its students graduate. Open one day a month, and that's the last Saturday of every month. Yippee, that's today.
Oh.
So if you want to see an anatomical museum, today's the day. Although maybe not before lunch or just to the left of the pub. Just to the left of the pub. And about 50 yards to the right of the memorial to the dog is his master's grave. And by the way, that church in there, just to let you know, tomorrow at 12:30 is the only church in Edinburgh where you can hear a Church of Scotland religious service in the Scottish Gaelic language.
Okay.
And I know that because I went there about 6 weeks ago just for curiosity. I don't speak Gaelic, so I didn't understand a word, but it was an interesting experience. And once the service is over, they start talking in English, so you can understand what they're saying. And they make you very, very welcome, even to the length of a cup of tea in the cake.
Yeah.
If you can't find one to fit, we'll make one.
Most of the people down here can't.
Right.
You're breaking my
The
neck.
good thing is the lights are green, red, because if you look down to your right, you'll see a circular raised plinth with scaffolding round about it. That's the site of the gallows historically, where people were publicly hanged until the mid-1800s.
Oh wow.
Quite
People
a
were
thought.
hanged there.
So this is the grass market. Anyone getting off here? No?
You see where the things
This,
are
until
right?
1911, was indeed a marketplace. It was a marketplace
those
for
things there?
livestock and crops.
So the man and the woman just walked.
That stopped in 1911. But there was still a market here. You can see further down the square. There's still a market on a Saturday only. But these days it's not goats and sheep and horses. It's
Why is that?
olives and cheese and sausages and earrings and leather goods, you know, the sort of thing. Look at that. That's what you get here these days. Now, particularly good view of the castle as we go through the square here. The circular section, the Half Moon Battery, and above it the royal apartments with gold paint above the windows. And that's where Mary Queen of Scots gave birth to James VI in 1566.
Look, Lena, look, the
That's a
castle.
real castle, is it not?
That is a beautiful
And there's one in the Saturday market. Now, you won't be aware of this, but we're about to break through the Flung Wall. The third wall would have been here until the mid-1700s. We've broken through it now. We've now left the old town of Edinburgh. We're now in a separate town that's called Portsmouth. And in Portsmouth, that's where the evil doings of Birkenhead took place. And if you don't know the story of Birkenhead, I'll tell you now. William Hale, the Waldorf Astoria Caledonian Hotel. That's it there. The building, the red building over there. In the middle of Westminster Street Gardens, you can see it from here, is St Cuthbert's Church. Now, there's been a church on that site for 900 years.
Look at that.
The person that's there at the
I don't
moment is
think
the
we can
Seventh Incarnation Church is
get
there,
off.
and it was built in the late 1800s. And
Look
just
at
a
it,
point
you
of
can see
interest, in that church in Cuthbert's, Agatha Christie had her second wedding in that church. And I can't be firm on the date, I'm afraid. Let's say the mid-1900s. Right, we're in with a tower in each corner. This, on the left, however, up there, you can see people in the skyline, is the Esplanade of Edinburgh Castle. And that building was opened on the same day in 1939 as World War II started. So not many celebrations the day that that building opened. Now, look at that view there. Is that not one of the finest views on the planet? Up there, the tallest of the highest of the 7 hills of Edinburgh. That's called Arthur's Seat. And as always, there are many, many people on top of it. Can you see them? Tiny figures on top of Arthur's Seat.
Oh yeah,
We take about an hour to get there from here on foot.
Yeah, you can see them.
Also,
Yeah.
between us and Arthur's Seat, you can see the cliff called the Salisbury Crag. And again, you can see lots of people on the
Yeah, you can
skyline
actually
of
see
Salisbury
them.
Crag as well. Hopefully not as
Look,
many.
up on the hill,
It's a big
you can see
rock.
people standing on there.
Hello.
Can you see them?
Hi, welcome. Right, so I believe some of our guests are getting off to climb Arthur's Seat. Can you remind me who it is that's getting off to climb Arthur's? Ah, there you go. Very good. Anyone like to join them?
No,
It's only 823 feet high.
it's fine, but it's cold.
Piece of cake. And the views up there today in this light would just be stunning. You see what's going to Scotland from up there. Right, now, next thing to come into view on your left-hand side is what was formerly the Royal High School of Edinburgh. Look at this building. Look at this building. And if I tell you that this building has been empty for 50 years because the school moved to the west side of the city in 1968, I'm sure you'd be horrified. But it has been empty for 50 years. There have been various ideas for that building. It was going to be the new Scottish Parliament. It was going to be a 5-star hotel. The current thinking is perhaps it will be a music school. But 50, a poem called A Fond Kiss, 2 lines. A fond kiss, and then we sever. A farewell, alas, forever. And he wrote that to a lady called Agnes McElhose. Her pen name was Clorinda. We'd met in Edinburgh. I guess he fell in love with Clorinda. But when he wrote that poem and sent it to her, he knew he'd never see it again. And he never did see it again, because he had to go back to the west of Scotland to be with his wife. AD. So what does that make it? 890 years old? Someone get that calculated. It's old. It's older than the palace. The palace is anything from 300 to 500 years old, depending on which part of it you're in. So you can walk around the grounds of the now ruined abbey, and also the lawn where the Queen has her garden party. Now I should tell you that I wasn't invited to the garden party this year.
We go all around.
In fact, I've never been invited to the garden party. You have to do something worthy to be invited to the garden party. No matter.
Well,
But I did go, I wasn't around the area when people were leaving this year. It was July the 4th actually, the garden party. Different style of building altogether. Can you see it just through there? But if you get a ticket for the palace, you can go through the grounds of that as well. So. Right, we're getting closer to Salisbury Crag now. You're getting closer to these people up at the top of the cliff now. The light is not easy at the moment. Normally you can see the path that is at the bottom of the cliff. And when I say the bottom of the cliff, I mean the bottom of the stone, but above the gorse that we can see there. There's a path, it's called the Radical Road. But it's actually closed at the moment because there was a landslip, I believe, and they haven't opened it yet until they check it's safe again. But there is a path at the bottom of the cliff as well as at the top. And if once it is opened again, you walk up that path, you could do a loop at the top and come back down along the top of the cliff. But it's a 40-minute walk with stunning views and light like this. Absolutely superb.
Look there. You walk. I get to it.
King's Park. But if Prince Charles ever makes it to the throne, it'll be known as the King's Park. But that's 66 years. Edinburgh's Millennium building, if you like. Millennium Project. It's called Dynamic Earth. And it's basically the story of the planet since the Big Bang estimated at 13.8 billion years ago. So that's a long, long time ago. So there's a bit of geology in there, a bit of geography, a bit of history.
You like the car?
If you go in there, and it takes about an hour and a half to go down there,
You like the
a bit of an interactive sort of a place. You'll be shown 3 short movies, one of them in 3D, and they're all about things like earthquakes, glaciers, volcanoes, that sort of thing. The sort of things that happen on a planet when it's cooling down. Very interesting place. And if you get a ticket from our driver, you will, Alec, you will get a discount. So anyone getting off stop for our dynamic Earth? No? Okay. And then come back out and run the country. So that's for obvious security reasons. There's dynamic Earth. No one can be tempted to get There's a series of rocks to your right at the moment. To your right, a series of rocks, and they're all from Scotland, and they're in order of age. So the one at the hole at the top is a mere 60 million years old, and the one at the bottom beside the bus stop is 2.8 billion years old.
Right.
So these are seriously old rocks.
Well, let's see here.
So there you go, the new Parliament building. What you couldn't see earlier on was that middle block in the middle.
On that
That
side.
middle
You're not
block, which is
listening?
much older. It's from
You
the late
can't listen while you're rubbing
1600s,
it.
and it's called Queensberry House.
On
And
that
it's
side.
in Scotland and England. One of the main guys associated with pushing through that arrangement was the guy who lived in that house. He was the second Duke of Queensberry.
Apparently those
So he
bamboo
pushed through the arrangement
places
with the help of a
are called
bribe to join
concentration
Parliaments
rooms
of England. And 300
the
years later, his house is
members
part
of
the new
Parliament
building.
to have a
That's
break.
both ironic and sweet.
So they go in there, take a
And
break,
by
and
the way,
then they come back out.
these sevens on the side of the building, some people think they look like hair dryers. You see the things I need?
Boss, look.
They're
Those,
actually the idea of the architect. They're meant
Those
to
rocks.
represent open curtains. We have an open parliament. We have no secrets from our elected.
what some things look like open okay, I get the stuff on the side of the buildings that looks like sevens. Supposed to represent
The
open
next street to the
parliament.
right,
That's supposed to be like curtains.
on the right up there's
Okay.
a road called Hutton Road. If you don't know who James Hutton was, I'll tell you now. James Hutton was born and lived in the 1700s. He died in 1797, and he was born in this part of Edinburgh. When he was a child, he used to go up to the Salisbury Crags and play. But bear in mind that in the 1700s, it was thought that the planet Earth was about 6 league down to the next road below down there, about 200 yards away from here. So the main entrance is called Dixon's Close.
It's not bridge there.
So down there you can see some of you. It's no longer a church, it's now an information point for Edinburgh as a World Heritage Site.
Yeah, number 7. Number 6 actually.
We're going to move off the Royal Mile briefly, but we'll be back later. We're going along South Bridge now, taking a left turn along here. And that building straight ahead of you with the dome is the oldest surviving building of Edinburgh University. It's called Old College, and it's still where the law faculty hold their lectures all these years on. Late 1700s. Old College. We're in a bridge at the moment. You wouldn't know we're on a bridge. I'll show the only open arch of this bridge in about 100 yards from now. If you look to your right or your left, shortly you'll see a street way below it, and it's called the Cowgate. And this is the only open arch of the bridge that we're on. Also, we're waiting for the lights. We're going to take a right turn at the next set of traffic lights, but the next set of traffic lights will be over stone to start.
Wait, was Harry Potter real?
Huh?
What did he have a Potter? Was
Right,
Harry
second music
Potter
thing I'd like to
real?
point out,
No,
on
it
your
was
right when you
created,
swing
they
round
said.
into Chambers Street, that red building there, it's called the Jazz Bar, jazz and blues every night, 3 concerts every night. It's much bigger than it looks. Pretty high quality music in there. Right, the next stop is stop number 7 in the Royal Mile, late 1400s.
Where is John Knox House? Where is John Knox House? You say you not listen to me? Wow. Wasted money.
Right, on your right, the Royal Mile has 160 roads that lead off it, or winds, or lanes, or alleys. And
No, I think I zoomed in by accident. Oh my god. I can't even see. Cannot what? Okay. We're heading to... No, point to the castle. No, turn around and that way. Okay, I've finished. Yeah.
So should it say, I'm at a castle?
Or you want one for your video as well?
I thought that's what you're filming for.
This is for my vlog.
In our YouTube video.
We're at the top of Scotland.
Go and peek down, yeah?
Huh? I know. This is beautiful. But it's actually not as cold. Why you say that? Who is searching bugs?
That's what they say.
Who said that?
It's right there. When you read the sign.
When you go into the castle. We're not going into the castle. What?
I want to.
Okay, have money.
No, they say supermarket. That's why I come.
Oh.
They say we call
Legfőbb srác, és ez teljesen megúszta, és akkor mindenki azon röhögött, hogy ez nem segített senkinek.
So you see?
Yeah.
Oh.
And the statue is right here.
Can you swap scarves, please, Anne?
Huh?
Can you swap scarves?
Yeah, go ahead. He asked me for money. Bagpipe. Yeah? We're back on the bus. But this time we're at the top.
There's a lot of street entertainment.
We're at the top this time.
Right, it's gotta be cold.
You pay and you get the headset, and you don't hear the music. We don't hear anything, but they do. It's called a silent disco or silent dancing. See? We're all going around. Usually they'll give you a wee wave as well. No, there's not.
That'd be something that you would say.
Do you want to take a seat to look at the weather over in Fife? It's getting a little bit dull and grey. Have you noticed that? That's coming across from Fife there, so I don't know if that's a good or a bad sign. Maybe we're going to get some rain. Or snow showers. You know, you can feel it. I did warn you, as soon as that sun goes, the temperature's going to drop. You know, that's keeping this place warm.
Make sure it's covered properly.
We've left number 10. We've got a bus stop down at the bottom of the hill. But this is the new town, what we call the new town. This is where we're heading now, folks. You know, It's worthy of an explanation. We've got old and new town. We throw these names at you. There's no two ways about it, okay? You've got to remember that all that existed of Edinburgh, original Edinburgh, behind us. So roughly, I'm talking about the castle, the Royal Mile to the palace. That
Just stop it
was
when we get-
Edinburgh, which is behind us now, okay? And old Edinburgh was a walled city. We had no running water. You got your water from a city well. They knew they actually had to do something. They were not that stupid. So if you were standing like where we were up at bus stop number 10 and they were looking directly north.
Where is the modern gallery?
Sorry, Phil, the Modern Gallery.
Yeah.
That's the one that is at off Queensferry Road, Belford Road. Tell them to get the art bus over there, that green one.
Right, okay.
So yeah, where was I? When 250 years ago, this area here, they were looking at the blue sea, green forest, and green fields. So they said, we'll pick this lovely section of land, and we will build a brand new town of Edinburgh, and that's what we did.
Okay.
So that's why we call it today New Town and Old Town. Okay. All of that happening 250 years ago. The architectural competition was 1766, and by the following year they started to build. It was a relatively... But we're going to go round the corner. Yep, that's the River Forth. Number 1 street of the new town, 250 years ago, George Street. That is what you're in at the moment. And if you build a new town, folks, you get your priorities right. You've got to have a dance hall, left-hand side, the assembly rooms. Look at the first level. Did you spot the chandeliers?
Yep.
That is a beautiful ballroom. It is worthy of a... Just walk in there. It is a public building. Up to that lovely little ballroom. Get your photograph taken. It's straight out of Pride and Prejudice.
Why are the lights blinking?
The
round
Oh,
lights.
it's because it's a crossing.
Oh, okay.
There's over here on the right hand side. Remember that gentleman, William Pitt, he was our youngest Chancellor of the Exchequer, 23 years of age. Our Prime Minister at 24 years of age. Youngest Chancellor, youngest Prime Minister was William Pitt. Now, we had no income tax in the United Kingdom till... we're quite happy if a seagull wants to sit on his head all day. Okay? And I did say sit, just to clarify matters there. Just in case, sometimes one can forget. Castle, at the left-hand side, Castle Street, and Edinburgh Castle.
Not the statues in.
And
Is that
see all the
Thomas?
shop frontages, how they've been added on, they came later. You know, the first new town of Edinburgh, the 3 streets and the 2 squares, residential only. Can you imagine that? No shops on Princes Street, no shops.